ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Yarn Spinners episode 3, where we're going to be
Welcome.
covering 3 topics, and it's going to be pretty good again. On the line, you have Tom Knight,
Hello.
and you've got Dimitri Williamson. As always, bringing you the funniest. It's not really that funny, but bring you our opinion. So
Yeah.
exactly. So, Tom, what's been happening with you today?
Just another day in the office for me personally.
Inspiring.
Working my fingers to the bone as usual. Yourself, patrolling the streets.
yeah. I've been at work too. It's quite stressful. There's a lot going on, but it's nice. I like working it. I've been on holiday for the last 2 weeks, so actually going back to work is quite nice.
Every day's a holiday for you.
Well, let's not. What did you do today, Tom?
Stuff, things confidential.
Right. So you didn't go. What was it? Fishing?
No, I didn't. Not today. Not in the same way that Iceland did, anyway.
Ooh, interesting. So today is the 12th of July, 2018, and as always, we open up. I say as always for the last 2 episodes, we will open up with a news article.
Yes, we will. We will. So we do a lot of research, really, into the things we want to discuss, and we don't want to just talk about, main headline news. We want to read things that may not get as much exposure as they should. And
Exactly. Niche. We call it niche.
We call it niche. And one of my interests, as you may know, you probably don't, but you might. One of my interests is, the environment and science, etc. And a headline that caught my eye whilst I was doing some research was whale killing. Iceland accused of slaughtering a rare whale, and the whale in question being a blue whale. Obviously, this is horrendously bad because we don't really know how many blue whales there are left in existence after the exhaustive, unrelenting hunting of them in the whale hunting era. So it's just going to be interesting because obviously we don't rehearse this. So it's interesting to see your thoughts, Dimitri, and see how they coincide with mine. So shoot.
Well, is it tasty?
Never tried it.
So, they probably love it. Who are we to say that they're wrong? No, in all seriousness, I mean, from what I've read, it's a rare breed. Do whales have breeds?
Yes, it's a blue whale. So it's not really a breed, it's a species of whale.
There we go, that's it.
A rorqual whale.
Are they rare?
The rorqual is just a type of whale. So then it's from the family called Balinidae, which means that it has baleen, the plates that they filter feed through. The blue whale, obviously, you should know this. I'm a bit disappointed that you don't. It's the biggest animal to have ever existed, ever.
Who said I didn't? Well, wait a second. Ever? I'm pretty sure it's not the biggest animal ever. It's the biggest animal at the moment.
It's the biggest animal to have ever existed.
Go
ahead and Google it before you try and come back at me with this.
I'm doing it now.
33 meters, mate.
Largest organism, a member of the order Cetacea.
Yep, Cetacea.
Well, that's not.
Because it's a cetacean. It's a whale cetacean. Then you have Dolphinidae and Balinidae. Let's just not go down that track. You will lose.
Okay, fine. So the largest animal was the blue whale, and the loudest.
There you go. Not exactly going to be quiet, are they? Look how big they are.
I thought there was a dinosaur that was one of the largest things to have ever existed.
Well, it may have been one of, but not the.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, so back on topic. Do you think? How do you think that this fares in our modern world?
I mean, it's difficult to
in
talk
our
about it
modern
without
fragile world.
difficult to talk about without a context. What is the context? Did they mean to kill it? Did they hunt it? Did they,
They hunted it, and according to the the article, which is on the BBC News website, they were confident that it is a hybrid between a blue whale and a fin whale, and a fin whale is the second largest animal on the planet, very closely related to the blue whale. And they're claiming it was a hybrid, but experts are looking at images that were obtained and looking at the the shape and the size and the fin arrangement. And they're saying it's a blue whale, not a hybrid. So they actively hunted it. They thought they were confident in what they were catching. Yeah,
do we know why they did it?
because they want to, because they can, because it's traditional for them. It's big business in Iceland. You know, I think they have a quota for how many they can catch. But they still are one of the few active whale hunting societies on the planet.
I mean, the Japanese are famous for doing that, aren't they? They were.
The Japanese are, but they hide under the guise that it's for scientific needs.
Right.
But then they don't really hide the fact that they do tin it for consumption for humans and for dogs.
So the interesting thing that I've read here is that if it's proven, because there isn't a consensus whether it's a purebred blue whale or whether it's
Yeah.
a mixture. If it is a blue whale, they can't sell it. So most of the meat that Iceland hunts with whales is sent to Japan. So if it is a blue whale, I think it's illegal.
I mean, who's going to inspect it? That's what I would like to know.
Well,
Do they? I mean, what do they do? Do they test the genetic material of it?
yes.
Do they just do they test the genetic material? Okay.
I think this was for what I can see. What they're saying is DNA testing will be made.
Okay. So, of course, the big debate with this would be, and it's the same for me with the fisheries industry as a whole. I don't know if you know, but the fisheries industry is governed by quotas of what you can catch. So, if you can catch, for example, 3 tons of fish, but you accidentally catch 5, 2 tons has to be thrown away, dead or alive, which is stupid and horrendous, and it's not an efficient way to govern the pillaging of the oceans. So if the genetic testing comes back that this is a legitimate 100% blue whale, and they can't sell the meat, I assume they can't do anything else with any of it other than perhaps donate it to a museum or to scientists to further our knowledge. That is a waste of a very rare animal, a potentially breeding animal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's bad from whichever way you look at it. Let's face it; these are animals that are coming up to extinction. From what I hear, from what I read,
Yeah. Yep.
the blue whale, it's illegal to hunt it. Judging from the pictures and the article, people say that it looks like it's a blue whale. Obviously, it doesn't
Hmm.
mean that it is a blue whale, but if it is a blue whale, then they can't do anything with it, which means that it's just a waste, as you said. It's a massive waste. The Icelandic government has also reacted to this story, um, but all they can say is that they can't confirm whether they can't confirm the species. Um, but they're saying that we're relying on the information provided to us by the fishermen, who are saying that it's not a blue whale. Um, but we'll see.
That doesn't seem a very efficient way of governing it to me.
No, no, no. They will have a DNA test, but preliminary reports, etc.,
Oh,
etc.,
okay. Yeah,
etc.
yeah, sure, sure.
And also, let's not forget, Iceland is famous for whale watching and etc. So they're not, I think they're also quite,
Respective.
yeah, of the blue whale. So we'll see, we'll see.
Sure. Okay. Well, it would be interesting, to see what the outcome is. I mean, if anyone listens to this and they know a bit more about it, or if they find something out between now and when you hear this, then drop us a line on the usual channels, Twitter, email, which will give you the address at the end of
I'll
the
give it to them
show.
now. Give it to them now.
Sure. So the email is yarnspinnerspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is yarnspinners1
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Spinners with an S, of course. Um,
because we're English.
uh, yeah, but okay. So let's go general now. You fish,
Sure.
don't you?
I do.
So, in terms of how do you look at fishing and generally hunting and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, I like fishing. That's your phone. Um, Fishing for me is it's an enjoyable pastime, but it's a way for me to eat eat something that I enjoy. I don't like going to the shop to buy it. I don't like to go and buy a fish and then support the fisheries industry personally, because mass consumerism is just not cool in my eyes. So whatever I catch, I eat. But other than that, I am vegetarian. So I'll eat fish, but I won't buy meat. I guess pescatarian is the correct terminology for people
I
like
think I knew
myself.
that
But
as well. I,
you know,
I
yes, I think you did. Yes, not learned anything
yeah,
new as
I
of yet
think
about
you've
me.
told me that
So
you've become recently a pescatarian.
yeah, I mean, I don't like to buy meat. I don't particularly like the industry. I don't like how the animals are killed or kept. Even if they're kept well up until the point that they're taken to the slaughterhouse. Going to a slaughterhouse in itself is horrifically traumatic to any sort of
So,
sentient
so you're
animal.
talking about
So I'm just not into that.
commercial farming. What about
Yes, and that applies to
okay,
fishery
okay.
farming as well. Salmon
What
fisheries and
about things like
the
hunting?
like.
So guys that hunt, let's separate into two. Guys that hunt for food.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you're living out in Alaska or somewhere like that, and you want to go out, if you live anywhere, even in Somerset, and you want to go out and you want to shoot a rabbit for some rabbit pie, or shoot some pigeons for game pie or whatever, go ahead. Fill your boots. But if you're some fucking prick who's got a big bank account and a tiny penis, and you want to go to Africa, shoot an elephant, pose a picture with you with your fucking high velocity rifle, and sit looking like you're the fucking king of the world next to a dead animal that would squash the living daylights out of you if you
And
didn't have
also,
said
let's not
high
forget
powered
these guys
rifle,
shoot
then
from
you're just
100 meters away.
distance easy. The animal doesn't even know you're there. It's not even fair, really. I mean, you guess you could say the same for fishing, but I don't catch a mackerel, put my knee on its
But
head,
people
and
do.
pose a
People do.
picture.
I mean, look, I've
You
got
know,
a good friend who's a fisherman, but he's a competitive fisherman. What does that mean? So that means that he catches for
sure.
sport and then he releases it back into the wild. Yeah. Obviously, you can't really
Catch and
do
release,
that with a
sure, yeah.
lion because he will literally eat your face off.
Can't
He
really
will
do that. No,
literally eat
not
your
unless
face
you're
off.
carrying a
So
tranquilizer or something.
I agree.
It would
I agree with you
literally
on the
annihilate you.
hunting front. Trophy hunting is a ridiculous concept, and their whole
There's no
excuse of
place
oh my
for it in our
god,
society.
what we do is we give the meat back to the village. It's like, mate, okay, fine.
Well, fucking
So why
bravo.
not let the villagers hunt it then?
Yeah, sustainably. Oh, because they want your American dollars or British pounds. That's, I mean, where's it going? That's not going into the pockets of the
Well,
locals. That's going into
yeah,
whoever
but
owns the fucking
also,
reserve.
you know, there's a few people that say that that actually helps the reserve. It helps things like breeding and looking after the animals. What I don't get is why.
Looking after them, that's
Well,
just completely paradoxical,
yeah,
though, isn't it?
it's
You
sort of
look after
farming,
them
isn't
to
it? It's a
kill them.
farming of exotic animals. Um, I don't understand. Like you
Yes.
said, I don't understand why you would pose with it. It's like there was a famous one with Cecil the lion. Obviously, that was a big one. There was a famous one with a woman who shot a
Yes.
giraffe. Who, let's face it, they're
Yeah.
not exactly wild predators who will kill you. So I don't
Basically,
really
a
get
big
it,
deer.
and also like the smile and the holding of the gun or the head and kneeling down. It's just a bit. It's a bit like,
Yeah.
obviously I don't understand why we think that that's fine, but murder's wrong of other humans. I really don't.
Yeah. I've never understood this. I've never understood why, animal cruelty, why isn't that on the same level as manslaughter or murder? You know, if you,
Hmm.
if you have a dog and you mistreat the dog and it dies of malnutrition and bad living, style, why aren't you held accountable for that trusting, loving animal dying a horrific death? Because if it was a
Oh,
two
he'd go
month
to
old
jail.
baby that you just left to die,
Yeah, he'd go to jail.
you'd be in jail for a long, long time. Well, but I don't understand what the difference is. Surely, if anything, a
Well,
three-year-old dog is smarter than a two-month-old baby. In terms of sentience,
well,
the
yeah,
dog can
true, true.
understand
But then,
sit, the baby doesn't.
I mean, it's. I agree with you that animal torture, and that is probably the worst thing for me, is people that like drown kittens or set dogs alight, or
Or the Yulin Dog
yeah, I
Festival,
mean,
the
but I
dog
think
meat
they had to stop
festival.
that, didn't I think they had to stop
I mean,
that though.
what the fuck? They're trying to. They're trying to. They are. People know it's not right, but the
No, no,
filthy,
but as
dirty
in, I think
bastards
the
still
Chinese
like to do
authorities
it.
made it illegal, from what I understand. Doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very, I think
Okay,
within the last
recently.
5 years, something like that. But obviously, it doesn't mean that it doesn't
Okay.
happen. It still happens on a smaller
hmm
scale. Well,
China.
yeah,
China's a big
yeah. I
country.
mean,
It's hard to
I just
govern
think animal cruelty in
in small
general. I agree with
villages.
Ricky Gervais on this. Let's do that to the guys that did it to the poor animal, and then see how they like it. Um, yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly,
Set the
exactly. I'm
cunt on
pretty sure they're
fire
not
and
gonna
then see what
like
happens.
that. But so
Yep.
commercial farming, you're not a big fan of, but farming for
No.
food. Well,
Well, you mean agricultural
yeah,
farming?
sort of. I mean, what if you've got someone who has a hen house? Is it a hen house? Hen coop, and they
Yep.
they produce eggs, and they produce too many eggs for them to eat, so they
Yep.
sell the remaining eggs.
Yep. I mean, I don't agree,
No,
with battery
no.
farming. That's why it was made illegal. I think, at the end of the day, people need to eat. I'm not a vegan. I will never go down that, recently beaten path. I don't want to wait for a raspberry to drop off and eat it. Not slaughtering people. If you want to do that, fine. If you want to be a
But you
vegan,
know, but
cool,
you know, you
whatever.
know what annoys me
It's all
about
good,
some vegans,
you
and
know.
this isn't
But
all vegans, but vegans have a bad reputation in general, is that they fucking go on about it, don't they? They will let you know that they're fucking vegan. I don't go around
they
saying, you know
do,
what, I'm a meat eater. Um,
yeah,
anyway, but that's fine.
yeah.
I mean, I did vegan for a month, and to be fair, people around me were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" What's wrong with you? Um, so it kind of works both ways, but I think there's a unnecessary stereotype that, as in the stereotype is there, but it's unnecessarily that vegans will tell you that they're vegan and tell you how wrong it is that you're eating meat. I mean, there was a famous incident of a guy in Canada who
Yes.
owns a game restaurant, and he goes and he shoots deer and then
Hmm.
brings it back and uh, prepares dishes out of it. He doesn't do it on a massive scale
Yeah.
because obviously one full size deer will feed a lot of people for a long time. So, but these
Sure.
people, well, some protesters against animal cruelty were there to protest against him, and they were in front of his restaurant, telling everyone that
Hmm.
anyone who's there is as a murderer, etc., etc. So he started. I think what he started to do is skin the deer in front of the protesters. Obviously, a provocative act.
Right.
Obviously, probably shouldn't have done it, but
Yes.
I think it happens both ways. I think
Yeah.
obviously it is bad that commercial farming exists, that animals are getting stunted and then killed, and etc. etc. But at the same time, you can't.
Hmm.
This is not a guy that's a massive food industry conglomerate that is going to be killing thousands of deer a day. So I kind of disagree with that. There has to be a
Sure.
bit of everything's about balance in life, right? Uh, don't kill 1,000
Hmm.
chickens,
Yeah.
kill 100 chickens. You know, uh, so I think it's disproportionate acts on both sides. I think. Interestingly, I was gonna tell you this story about. Anyway, forget it. I might remember it later. But so how often do you eat meat?
Uh, uh, Aside from fish,
Yeah.
very, very rarely. I think the last time that I ate meat was when I helped you move to Manchester from London, and you took me to an Armenian restaurant, and I said, choose anything because I want to
Okay. Yeah.
try
Yeah.
new food. So it's a
Well,
bit
not really. It depends
hypocritical
how
of me, I
where
guess.
that meat is sourced from, right? Um, and from what I understand, it's
Sure.
quite good quality meat, which means it's probably organic, free range farming, etc., etc. I mean, no, 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 no.
Well, it wasn't a cheap
And to be
restaurant,
fair,
let's be honest.
I think you can tell by the taste of an animal that's been specifically fed and watered to make it food, and an animal that's been properly looked after.
I mean, it's a very narrow path that you tread here because you have to think about foie gras,
Yeah,
for example.
I don't really agree with that.
Um, the no, I
I
don't
wouldn't.
think
I
many. I
wouldn't
don't
fuck with
think
it.
many people could, but no, it's not. It's not very nice. For those of you who don't know, foie gras is force-fed geese to fatten the liver to then eat said liver. Not
No, so these
terribly
guys literally
pleasant,
stick a tube down the
but
goose's throat and pour food into it. So it
yes,
so its liver gets essentially infected, really fat. Not infected, but it gets really fat, and
can't
then it doesn't
move.
work properly, and then the goose dies. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then
So
people
did
eat
you?
its
So this
liver.
is one of the funniest things I've heard whilst I was on holiday. Apparently, they've made quote unquote sustainable foie gras. Do you know how they do that?
Okay, I do
They
not.
are they trick they psychologically trick the goose into thinking that it's always hungry, so it always eats. I don't know how they do it, but apparently that seems
Okay,
the more humane way because no one's actually forcing. it to eat. Now, obviously, that's a lot of bullshit. Um, you're
Yes.
still psychologically making it eat.
It's just gone from psychological and physiological torture to just inflicted psychological, because then the goose then inflicts its own physiological torture upon itself by just
Yeah,
gorging.
stupid food. I don't really get it. I don't really want to eat it. It's not that good anyway.
No,
So yeah, I have. I'm not a huge fan
tried
of
to have it.
liver in the first place. Offal for me is not. I just prefer muscle.
No,
But it's just that psychologically, when you eat it, you can't help but think what it represents, which is someone suffering for your, not just suffering in the way that an animal is slaughtered, but it's physically tortured to make it taste good.
yeah,
I'm not really down with it.
yeah. Is it similar to? Is it is it venison? Where it's a
Veal,
calf,
veal.
a calf that's pretty much veal. Sorry, yeah, veal. Deer is venison, isn't it? Yeah, veal. Where they're just chained so it keeps
I'm
the
not
meat
sure they can
tender.
do that anymore because that is just straight up animal cruelty. I'm not sure they can. I think previously it was that. Shockingly, shockingly
So is force
previously.
feeding a
Yeah, which is
goose.
why they had to stop force feeding it and now had to resort to non-forceful feeding.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
non physically
I just think in
forceful, but
general, like
mentally very
for
forceful.
guys that go and hunt and then bring the food home. So if you go and hunt grouse and
Yeah,
you bring it home and you eat it, fair enough. You went, you've killed,
yeah, yeah.
and you probably yeah, exactly. And also
And it
you've only
gets
killed
used.
one. You haven't killed 100.
So so
Exactly,
sustainability is
exactly.
just shining through there. But there is a big flip side to this. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Give a man a rod and he'll eat for a lifetime. But
Not sure
you
it's the
know,
same
if
concept, but okay, go on.
it's a relatively similar concept, give a man a grouse and he'll eat for a day. Give him a
Yeah, but
rifle and
these
he'll go
people
fucking
don't.
mental.
I think
No, these people don't. But what my point is that sustainability would break itself if all of a sudden people stopped producing mass-produced meat and everyone took up hunting.
uh
That's a lot of animals that get
see,
killed
this is what
on
I've
a
been
daily
thinking about
basis in the
recently.
wild.
Are there wild cows? There's wild chickens, but are there wild cows? Do they exist in nature? Or have we domesticated all of them?
I think they do exist, but they are not
No.
the dairy cow or the Aberdeen Angus. I think if you look at the cows in India, for example, with the big humps on their back, I think that's a little bit more accurate to what they would have looked
Right.
like originally. Just as a guess, off the top of my head, I actually don't know fully. But you're quite right. I mean, that is selective breeding. Dairy cow, for example, that's
Mm.
selective breeding. That's human
Well, interestingly, I've
interference.
just read on Google that the ancestor to the domesticated cow has been extinct since 1627.
Okay, and what did this
Looks
ancestor look
pretty
like? Do you
much
know?
like a cow, just with a slightly larger neck, a longer neck.
Okay,
Um, but there is a Hawaiian wild
okay.
cattle, which is a feral breed of domestic cattle. So maybe it's a sort of
Okay.
a recently released cow.
Well, I do know that in Hawaii they had, because I've been to Hawaii and I saw some stuff about it, that there was an earthquake and a lot of domesticated animals escaped and then became wild. So they have like jungle fowl and stuff that are remarkably similar to chickens, because they are in
Mm,
fact chickens that escaped during the earthquake and have
mm,
since
mm.
gone
Um,
wild.
Do you think
So
there's
possibly the
anyone
same for the
in
cow.
India that eats cow? There must be, right? Because it's a big country and not everyone's
Probably
Hindu.
yes. Well, I did read actually that I fleetingly saw an article a few weeks ago about there's actually a big meat eating
Yeah,
community out there.
yeah, but do they eat
They're not all
cow?
vegetarians. Well, I mean, I guess the whole country. It might be a Hindu country, but I'm sure that there must be atheists out there who
Mm.
eat a cow. I would have thought
What,
so.
what what I'm trying to say is
I mean,
obviously there are different cultures and creeds in India, but
yes.
because is it a secular country? Is India a secular country?
Possibly. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is a secular nation. So okay, fine. So that answers my question. Is that
Okay.
yes, there will be people that eat cow because they're not Hindu. Um, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, fine. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of. I mean, look, animals for me are incredible beings. So, am I for? Am I
Yes.
gonna give up eating chicken? Probably not. As I said, I tried veganism for a month. I actually enjoyed it. I just think in England there aren't that many options for it.
Have you tried vegetarianism?
Yeah,
Because corn is
I
pretty
have.
good.
To be fair, my dad is a vegetarian. He's been a vegetarian for a long time, 30
Hmm.
years nearly. Um, so I grew up in a
Okay.
fairly vegetarian household. My mom still fed me meat, and my dad was
Sure.
pro that because I was a child growing up. So I needed, and I was playing a lot of sports. So he was supportive of that, but he didn't want to eat meat, which is fair enough. He eats meat at Christmas time. That's the only time that he will eat meat.
Okay.
But other,
Okay.
oh, no,
A festive
turkey, just a
goose.
traditional. Yeah, yeah, he goes
Festive,
and
festive foie gras.
force feeds it himself. Um, so yeah, I've lived a semi-vegetarian life anyway, but I just like meat. I like cooking with it. I like eating it.
Sure.
I've My granddad had a farm, so I've seen animals being slaughtered, and I've had chickens,
Yeah.
my own chickens. So I've never killed an animal. I must admit, I find that a bit. This was the thing that I was going to talk to you about. A friend of mine recently went to a Mongolian wedding, and part of the Mongolian tradition is
Okay.
you slaughter a lamb for the wedding. And interestingly, the way that they
Sure.
did it
Yeah.
is they force an animal on its back and they hold back its four legs. They cut a slit
Yep.
in the neck, reach into the throat, and snap the yes.
Vertebrae.
So it within seconds it dies. Um, yeah.
Okay. With a
So,
practiced
but
hand. Yeah.
one of the things that they said, which is quite interesting, because one of the guys, actually, my friend's boyfriend is a vegetarian for reasons of animal cruelty and sustainability.
Okay.
And he said, you know what? Actually, looking at that, it
Hmm.
seemed like the animal didn't suffer because the whole process was so
Okay.
quick that it it wouldn't have really known what was happening. The whole process took about, he said, 30 seconds. Um, and it was
Okay.
very dry, so there wasn't a lot of blood. Um, it was very quick. It looked fairly painless for the animal. There wasn't a lot of screaming
Hmm.
from the animal. So when I asked him, so you as a vegetarian, based on your principles, did you think? Well, yeah.
Difficult to scream with a cut throat, but go on.
He said, you know what? Actually, given that that is their traditional way of slaughtering animal, and given that they probably perfected it to a point that because there is a lot of respect for animals because they rely on them so much in Central Asia. It's an
Yes.
it's a traditionally nomadic culture, so they would have had to rely on animals, and they're very in touch with nature.
Yeah. They're not first world. They haven't got a
No, no.
McDonald's that they can just whip down
So
to
he
and get a
said,
Big Mac.
actually, that looked for me, given my principles and why I'm a vegetarian, that didn't look as bad. Oh, I was quite impressed by that. I was quite impressed by that.
Okay.
One of the things that they said is the the traditional wedding had a lot of music instruments, and one of the music instruments was because they use every bit of the animal. It was basically no,
Skin
it
flute.
was like a harp.
Pink oboe.
A penis, basically. You mean a penis? Um,
It was one of those.
it was a harp, so sort of a harp thing made of a spine. Mm.
How lovely. Okay, sounds like something out of some sort of Norse mythological setting. People just sat there
Why
playing
not?
the spine harp.
Why not?
Sounds great. Well,
No,
what were
just
the strings
horsehair.
made out of? Gut?
Just reinforced horsehair. So don't
Oh,
worry
just
about it.
horsehair. Okay, sure. Was the hair taken
Yes.
sustainably off of the horse's
Yeah.
mane
Yeah.
or
I don't
tail
know. I don't know. I've no idea. I've no idea.
under
I've no idea.
under local
But this
anaesthetic?
made me think. Actually, right.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you some things about things to make you feel old. Okay. So,
Sure. You're going
yeah.
to describe a mirror to me.
When do you think? Remember that famous song by Estelle, "American Boy"? When do you think that was
Yes.
released?
I mean, I think we'd met.
Mate,
So I'm
you're
going to say
right.
2008.
American Boy, ladies and gents, was released 10 years ago.
Wow.
Now think about it, right? Beyonce released her
Okay.
first solo album 10 years ago. I think that's her first solo album. Sex on Fire, when was that released?
I was living in Newquay, so I'm going to say
2008.
2009 or 10.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Sure.
I was not too far out.
What else happened
Still
in
wrong.
2008?
Go on. I moved to Cornwall. that made big news.
Globally.
Well, no, there was local news, because we were on Brecon Court of Bristol UE, University of the West of England, and I do believe it made a secular pamphlet that was distributed throughout Brecon Court.
In memoriam, Thomas's Unitas.
Local legend, Lee. Yes. What else happened in 2008? Do you know, I don't think I could pull any headlines out of my head right now.
Okay.
So, surprise
How
me.
about Barack Obama was first elected as the first black president?
Ah, yeah, I should have known that because I was actually in Hawaii
How was that?
when he was being elected. Should have known that. Yeah.
Must have been pretty exciting.
The locals were very happy because obviously it was pretty cool, because
Sure.
my auntie lives in California and she was giving me the lowdown on how she was voting. So, it was, I mean, whenever we got in the car and put the radio on, Barack Obama. Whenever you see a newspaper, Barack Obama. When you talk to a local and, they talk to my aunt and that, oh, who are you voting? Barack Obama.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. It was posters, billboards. I mean, the guy is
he's
son
the
of
governor,
Hawaii.
wasn't he?
They love him
He
out
was.
there. So.
He was the governor.
He was.
iPhone 3G.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
true.
a great place to
I can
govern, by the
imagine
way.
that I can imagine that it was pretty cool being a governor of Hawaii.
Yep. Just
Yep.
going to pass this
And then go for a
legislation, and
surf.
then
So,
the swells
see
come
ya.
in. So 8 foot solid, 10 foot, or 3 foot Hawaiian, as they
Um,
say.
here's things
Go on.
things that will
Next.
make you feel old AF. Oh, come on.
As fuck.
When do
Just
you
wanted to
think
clarify
Maud
the
Flanders
AF there.
died? The Simpsons character, famously the wife of Ned Flanders.
Ned,
The leftover.
I own the Leftorium Flanders. His wife, Maud. 2011?
17 years ago.
Okay. Wow. I was miles out that time. A
Yeah,
decade.
a massive day.
That's crazy.
Back to the Future Part
Okay.
2.
Next.
Oh, okay.
Oh, didn't watch it.
Why?
Just not my genre.
Okay.
Not a fan.
That's all right.
Ooh, the
It's okay.
controversy.
Um,
Go on. I've swiftly moved down in the pecking order.
Gwen
of the fans'
Stefani and
favourites
Eve,
now.
Let Me Blow Your Mind. When do you think that was released? 2001.
I don't know, 2006?
2004,
Oh, for God's sake.
Motorola Razr was released.
Okay. I don't like...
And Friends finished the TV series.
Okay.
Yeah.
In 2004? Wow. And yet it's still so popular. It's still being shown on TV. I still watch it. That shit is good.
Well,
no one ever rips on Friends because it's fucking good. You rip on Friends and you make enemies.
How good it is that it can stand the test of time. I mean, Space Jam, 1996.
Going back to Friends very briefly, the thing that interested me the most was I did read somewhere a report that said it was more popular with English fans than American. And this goes back to our previous chat on another podcast. You should download it, by the way. Feel free. Where we talked about the differences between American humour and English humour. And you have to think, it's not actually that slapstick, is it? Friends. It's very sarky and quite dry in places. So yeah, very big English following. Obviously later on, then I think the whole world embraced it. But the early episodes, I do believe that it had a bigger English fan base. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not.
That's quite... Yeah.
Well, I could be.
Okay, that's quite cool. In terms of music, like talking about music in general, what are you? What's on fire right now?
Actually, the thing that is in my most played on my playlist at the moment is a young man by the name of Jeff Buckley.
Obviously, he's no more.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
he is no more for quite a long time. I think his album, his one and only, was released in '98. I think off the top of my head, I could be wrong, but I'd never heard of him. And my partner, she's cool. She's sort of broadened my horizons with music, and I just flicked through her files and through her CDs and stuff, and found Jeff Buckley, popped him on, and I thought, yep, I'm downloading this, and I just can't stop listening. The guy's incredible, and a real shame, but to have gone. But he's still listed as one of the top 20 singers, like vocalists, on the NME charts, and his album is still sort of I think it's like easily top 100
Yeah, yeah.
albums
I
that you should
mean,
listen to. I mean,
Hallelujah is a
that's
famous
incredible.
song from that.
You know,
No,
wasn't his song,
Leonard
but it was
Cohen
one of the
sang the
most famous
original.
covers, of
Another
course.
legend that is no longer with us. I just looked online.
Yeah,
Grace, which is the album by
absolutely.
Jeff Buckley, was
True.
released in 1994. Yeah.
Oh, 94. So, yeah. Wow. Wow. Died died in the Mississippi, I believe. He was out having a swim in the early to mid-evening, and a boat went past him and he drowned
Yeah.
in the wash. So, horrendous, tragic, but, legacy that he's left. One album, and it's incredible.
Yeah. I think a lot of people think that it's just to finish on Jeff Buckley. A
How
lot of
about
people think that
yourself?
it was a suicide. Yeah, but they're the
Really?
official stories that.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you'll never know. You'll never know. So one way or the other, it's still a shame to have lost someone who was so talented. I mean, if you haven't listened to him, go and listen. If you don't like it,
I,
fine, whatever.
I
But
think for me
the
that
guy is immense.
is.
He's incredible.
I think that's widely regarded by everyone else. So it's not exactly a controversial view, but it's probably one of the best covers
No,
ever. Yeah,
absolutely,
he did,
100%. He smashed it
he did,
straight out
he
of the
did
park.
smash it.
Home run,
He did
went for
smash it.
6, hat
What
trick.
am I listening to? Was the
He
question.
smashed the shit out of it.
Um, my
Yes.
so if I go to my top 25 most played, it's interesting. Okay, recently it don't know what that is, mate.
Porn music.
It's been
Music that is
okay.
accompanying a porn
It was
film.
Kanye West, The College Dropout.
Ah, a classic. You have always liked your hip hop. That was one of our binding things in our early days
Okay,
of university and
I'm gonna,
education.
I'm gonna say
But yeah,
something about this
what a great
album.
album.
This album was released in about 2004 when I was at school still,
Yeah,
and it still stands the test of time. Now,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
a big fan of Kanye West from 2004 onwards in terms of his in terms of his solo career.
To 2005.
The College Dropout, incredible. I would say 90% of that album is incredible.
Yeah,
That same year, he
yeah,
helped produce the Black Album by Jay-Z. Again, incredible.
yeah.
He then later in
hmm
the next year, in 2005 or six, he released Late Registration. Again, incredible.
Yeah.
Then it was
hmm
what was it? College Dropout, Late Registration, and it had Touch the Sky on it. Yes,
Yeah, I
Graduation.
can see the album. It was a
Again,
Graduation.
incredible. But then he went crazy. He released a singing album after that.
Right.
His last good album, solo album, was probably Twisted Dark Fantasy. I
Yeah.
didn't like Yeezus as much. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was good. Sonically, it was different, very different. I
Yeah.
thought he was much better when Rhymefest and Common Ghost wrote for him. I just think, I really hope that Kanye releases good music. I don't necessarily want him to be the same as College Dropout. I don't necessarily want it to be, because he's producing. So he helped produce, or I think he produced all of Nas's last album. So not Nas's latest album.
Okay.
And have you heard it at all? It is
No,
incredible.
I have not.
Yeah, it,
Really?
this is just an excerpt. I don't think we can feature it for the whole thing, but you should definitely listen to it.
No, I wouldn't.
Anyway, it's called Nazir. Amazing album. All credit to Nas and Kanye West. I don't want this podcast to be shut down beforehand, but that album is incredible. Nas kills it, obviously. Kanye kills it with the production. It's just amazing, and I wonder whether he wants to experiment with his own music, but does hip hop music, like almost old Kanye music, style Kanye music, for other rappers, because they have a certain vision for their album as well. Which I think is that way. He experiments with his own music and sets trends, and then when he produces for another artist, he produces it with their vision in mind as well. But Jesus, that album is amazing. You should definitely listen to it, Nazir. If you like hip hop, I mean, the fact that Nas released an album is already a huge thing. The guy's a legend. Yeah. But so College Dropout for me has been on rotation for the last. What are your thoughts about Kendrick?
Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh, okay. There's a.
I like him.
But.
I do. I just feel like I'm getting a bit old for new hip hop. I feel like I think there's a lot of it where I just feel a bit, do you know what I mean? Just bring me back the original sort of Slim Shady. I'm a big Tupac fan. So I've got a lot of his songs on circulation, and I listen to him, and then I listen to not necessarily Kendrick, but I mean How to Pimp a Butterfly was a great album. The Black of the Berry is a fantastic song. I love it, but I find myself, I think I've reached that stage because I listened to a lot of hip hop when I was younger, and especially a lot of Tupac. And I kind of compare everyone to him and how his songs make me feel. And I just sort of think no one else sort of invokes emotion like that in me, or, no one else can portray the stories and the images that Tupac could, in my opinion. I mean, I like B.I.G. as well. I'm a big B.I.G. fan. But if you were to compare the two, I don't think you could, because their styles are so different. Biggie, I mean, no one has a better flow than Biggie. Eminem's a close second, but for me, Biggie, you listen to Kick in the Door, and you just listen to how that man just flows, and you think, it's just natural. He didn't even need to think about it.
I've listened to an interesting, it's a video on YouTube by Complex about rhyming, and Vox, actually not Complex, Vox, and it's a short documentary called Rapping Deconstructed, the best rhymers of all time, and they feature Notorious B.I.G. on it, and you can see the way that he constructed his rhymes, absolutely amazing. And his flow, you're right, he kind of, because he rhymes on an offbeat, and he doesn't quite, he rhymes in between, in the middle of the verse as well, in the middle of each sentence. He
does half rhymes, yeah.
It seems like it flows better because it's not, it's not your traditional, I came to the door, I've seen it before. It was just completely revolutionary almost, and that's why it's so smooth when you listen to it. No, you can't. You can't because it is internal. It is something that you feel. Yeah.
I mean, that's his own metronome. That's him hearing the beat. That's, he knows how he wants to pronunciate and where he wants to hit with the punchlines, and where to hit the highs and the lows on the syllables, etc. It's just incredible. But if rhythmically, if you were to compare him to Tupac, Tupac does not have the same flow, and I think Tupac conveys a lot more emotion because it feels as though he's pouring his soul into a song.
I think with Tupac, it's not so much about witty lines, but more about the message. You see what I mean? He was very much about empowering black people and empowering black youth, especially.
Well, he was essentially broadcasting the struggle,
and he. I tell you what, I've watched an amazing documentary recently called The Defiant Ones. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I have. I've seen a couple of episodes on a certain channel, Netflix.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's that message of relentless pursuing of greatness and being, and not caring what people thought. At the time of what.
I mean, Dr. Dre signing Eminem, who was the absolute antithesis of a rapper.
Well, yeah, but he was only antithesis of a
blonde,
rapper.
Blue eyes.
Through, exactly. Rather than his skill.
Stereotypicalization. His skill is unquestionable. I think, between him and Biggie, they're very close. You lock that front door, mate. I think, Eminem, I think I looked it up and I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but I think he has the broadest vocabulary of any performing artist.
Would you not say that someone like Immortal Technique or MF Doom also has that?
The thing is, Immortal Technique, he's not mainstream, is he? So if you were to see Immortal Technique next to Eminem's name, 99% of people aren't going to know who Immortal Technique is. And they should know who he is, because he is fucking incredible. But he is also a lot more explicit, not in terms of swearing or anything, but the scenarios that he sets are difficult to take in for the average listener. I
think. Well, he's his rhyming is quite complex, and his vocabulary is very complex. So it's not something that you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they are,
and his topics are hot. I mean,
topics. I'm just reading through some lyrics for "Dance with the Devil," and it sounds.
Yes, that's the song I had in mind.
Yeah, which is all about drug dealing and
an aspiring drug dealer essentially wanting to become part of a gang and raping his own mother accidentally. You can't say accidentally, but the story is that he wanted to be part of a gang, so to prove himself to the gang, they had to rape someone at night. They jumped a woman, they put a bag over her head, they took her upstairs. This is all a song, obviously, not saying that this was actually done, but it transpires to be the guy's mother, and the story ends with him jumping off of the roof. And the message being, don't dance with the devil, because the devil never says
that's true. That's true. No, I think he's Do you know?
It's a hell of a song. I've listened to it on repeat, and it is, when you listen to it, and if you can look past the gritty, horrible backstory and just listen to the way it's portrayed and the underlying message, rather than just thinking, oh goodness, someone's being raped and murdered and drugs are being sold. If you can get past, because it's a story, you watch a film and someone gets raped in it, that happens in films, etc. So it shouldn't be any different for a song, really, artistically speaking. And it is an incredible song,
Yeah,
personally, I think.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think there's another one which we've mentioned is MF Doom, and he's always
Yes.
he's referred to by someone as the best MC with no chain you ever heard.
I like Somersault, which has the 07 sample. Yeah, Somersault is a great track.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's I love his. So one of my favorite rhymes of his is um, I'm not sure I can actually do it justice by just reading it. But it's never let her interfere with the Yeti ghetto slang, nicknames of nimble and tip of nipple metal fang, known amongst hoes for the bang bang, known amongst foes for flow without not talking orangutans. I mean, yeah.
That's creative. Yeah, it's clever. He's obviously sitting there and he's got his his internal rhythms going, and he's got the metronome going, and he's rehearsing these lines over and over in his head, and they're just coming out.
No, you can't.
Again, you
You
can't
can't. And at the
teach it.
same time, it's
You can't teach it.
actually something that people might not have known is that he's actually British born. He's British born and lives
I
in
didn't know that.
America. Talking of
Cool.
actually British music, what are your thoughts on British UK rap? Obviously, you've had the meteoric rise of what's his name? Not Skepta. Shut up. Do you know who I mean? No.
I do know who you mean, and for the life of me, I can't remember what his name is right now. He did Gang Prayers and
Yeah.
Gang Signs and Prayers or something.
Anyway, he's
Uh,
really.
anyway, yeah, I'm not a fan. Not really, no. I like Dizzy Rascal. I have to say, I like
Right.
Dizzy Rascal. I've seen him live a few times. But that, his first album, Boy in a Corner, that was great. I used to skate to that back in the day. But yeah, I'm not a fan of. I'm not really a big fan of grime. It's not really my
Okay.
thing personally.
I
Self,
like
you
some
like
of it.
I
I like
guess.
some of it. Skepta's really good. Lyrically,
I like
flow.
Skepta. I like Skepta. Yeah.
I think what the hell is his name? Stormzy.
I can pick Stormzy. There you go. Yeah, I can pick. I watched him on Soccer AM a little while ago, and I'm just there thinking, like, what's his name? I know it. I know it.
Yeah.
The guy's famous.
He is amazing. What kind of music do you listen to when you exercise? If you can remember that far back.
So, well, to yesterday, yesteryear. What do I listen to? I like drum and bass when I'm running because I can sort of set my pace to the pace of the beat and the rhythm. A lot of my exercise is surfing, so can't really listen to music when I'm out there. But if I'm going for a run or anything like that, then electronic music, anything that I can sort of get a rhythm out of. It doesn't have to be high tempo, you know, motivator music. I can listen to Bonobo. I'm a massive fan of Bonobo. I love Bonobo, and I can just put Kerala on or the Sicilian, and I can just listen to that, and I can just get hypnotic about it. I can just listen to it, be lost in it, run, and that's it. And then by the time I finish running, I'm like, oh fuck me, that's a whole album done. And then I
must
go
admit, I
home and
don't
eat
think
a
I've ever
cake.
heard of Bonobo. As I don't think I've had it.
You've never heard of
Let me
Bonobo?
just.
That's terrible. You will have heard of him because I would have shown it you at university, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember Ben Philby, my next door neighbour?
Okay.
He showed me him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I go to weightlift mostly.
Yep, you go and lift up those big, heavy double-decker bars and stuff. Yeah.
And I really like hip hop for that. Really like hip hop for that because it's got the beat.
Yeah.
You know, it's got everything. It's got everything. So I hear you are saying it's wrap up time.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't want the podcast to, you know, go too far. I don't want people to look at it and go, "Oh,
let's not
hell,
use
these
the
two cunts
C
for an
word.
hour
You're
and
not
10
allowed to use
minutes."
that anymore.
Well, I have. So, you know, I live in the UK and freedom of speech. So, you know, at the end of the day, if they don't like it, then you know, that's fine. Leave it in the comments. But I'm giving you something to comment about because we are still waiting for some feedback.
Yeah. No, but seriously though, if you have any suggestions, if you just want to give a shout out, if you want to do anything, do let us know. Do let us know if we're doing it right. Do let us know if we're doing it wrong. We're more than happy for anything. Tommy, do you want to give them how to reach us again?
So, as I said in the beginning of the show, you can reach us on our email, which is yarnspinnerspodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is yarnspinners1. That is the digit 1, not the literal spelling. Yeah, we'll have a Facebook page as well. So, you know, I'm sure you'll be able to find us on there. And yeah, that is how to reach us, apart from giving you my mobile number.
And also, but I can give them to you. I could give them your number to you.
Sure.
I can give you your number to them. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel called Yarn Spinners.
Of course.
We're uploading all these podcasts there. And by all means, comment.
Yes,
comment.
we are. So, you know, comment, share, you know, embed them on your page, even if you want to listen to these two, they're fucking stupid. We want
we do. And if you type in Yarn Spinners, it should be at the top of your list.
We do.
So don't worry about it. No, but seriously though, you know, whoever's listening to us in Ecuador, by the way, thank you very much. Muchas gracias, mi amigos.
Yeah.
But seriously though, thanks to everyone that is listening to us, if anyone is listening to us. What was your guy's name that listened to our show?
Oh, his name is Simon. Simon Raithby. There's a
little
shout out for you.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll have him on the show. I used to work with him at the Environment Agency.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting
No doubt. We're always...
Okay,
yeah.
So
we're also looking for any guest appearances. If anyone wants to come in and talk to us and correct us on anything that we say or anything that we discuss, by all means.
Or even if you just have some topics that you want us to discuss.
By all means, do let us know. Anyway, wrap up time. Thank you very much, Tom.
Yep. Thank you very much, Dimitri. And we have been the Yarn Spinners.
Cheers. Bye.
Peace.